Hello, B. Dasgupta. Let's address your question. Apologies for the delay here. So you asked the question regarding certain concepts of project management. And the very first one that I will address is the affinity diagram. So when you think about an affinity diagram, what is it? An affinity diagram is a diagram that allows for grouping of ideas. So in this image that I'm drawing here, you can see I have the ideas arranged by category 1, category 2, category 3. These ideas, all of these ideas, just imagine that all of these ideas were brainstormed by the team. The team is the contributor to all of these ideas. Now, all of these ideas, in order to be able to assess and analyze them correctly, we should endeavor to group them. And that is the purpose of the affinity diagram. We want to be able to group all of these ideas. And the affinity diagram enables us to do that. Now, I would like you to follow me to the PMBOK guide. We're going to take a look at what the PMI says about affinity diagrams. They can be used in a number of processes, but we'll first of all take a look at collect requirements. It says affinity diagrams allow large numbers of ideas to be classified into groups for review and analysis. If you take a look at somewhere else this appears, which is in quality management on page 293, it says affinity diagrams can organize potential causes of defects into groups, showing areas that should be focused on the most. So what you're really doing here is trying to group these ideas or these findings into categories for ease of analysis. That's all that is, okay? Now, the other thing you asked about is the MCDA. I'll address that in question 2, but let's talk about mind mapping. So mind mapping is different from the affinity diagram. So you've got all of these great ideas, but we do not see how these ideas are interconnected. So mind mapping allows you to see the interconnection of ideas. Idea 1 is connected to idea 2. Idea 3 generates further clarity on idea 2, and so on. So you're creating a map, as it were, of these ideas and showing the interconnections. Let's take a read at what the PMI says regarding this mind map. There's one key thing about mind maps, and that is the consolidation of ideas, and it presents it in such a way that you see many things at once. Let's read in Quality Management, page 284. Mind mapping is a diagrammatic method used to visually organize an information. You see, you're trying to organize the information. It says a mind map in quality is often created around a single quality concept, drawn as an image in the center of a blank landscape page, to which associated representations of ideas such as images, words, and parts of words are added. So let's backtrack for a second. If we have a concept such as PMP success, you could brainstorm around what contributes to PMP exam success. But if you were using a mind map, you would map the ideas together. For example, you could say studying. Studying contributes to success. But you could also say what leads to studying is time management, you managing your time. And what leads to time management? Another concept. You manage your time when you have time management skills, or inclinations. And that's why people who do well on the exam, they plan their time and they have skills that enable them to maximize it. But we could keep on going on and on like this. What else contributes to success? We could say attending the right course. And by the right course, I mean one that is tailored towards your learning style. And we could go on and on and on, okay? And this, at the end of the day, is gonna create a web of ideas, not just brainstormed ideas, but showing interrelationships. So when should you use this? Well, the PMI gives you some inclinations as to when this could be used. You could use it in planning for quality to identify quality variables. You could use this in collecting requirements. In collecting requirements, you could have requirements that lead to a deliverable being superior, being the best. It says mind mapping, page 144, consolidates ideas created through individual brainstorming sessions into a single map to reflect commonality and differences in understanding and to generate new ideas. So what you need to realize is that this thing right here is all about team collaboration. And that's why you do your mind map. Okay? So let's go to your other questions. So the other question you asked is nominal group technique and MCDA. So when you talk about nominal group, this is really more about a team ranking effort based on voting. Team members vote on ideas, concepts, requirements, and other variables. This is nominal group technique. What is the difference between nominal group technique and MCDA? MCDA, multi-criteria decision analysis. So, do we vote in MCDA? No, it's not a voting. So, what is it? Multi-criteria decision analysis looks at various criteria that has been predefined, and it uses a decision matrix to provide a systematic analytical approach for establishing criteria to evaluate and rank ideas. So when we talk about MCDA, it is important that you realize this is a systematic, well thought out approach for analyzing the best course of action. Or options in a particular situation. Now, a nominal group technique does not have a matrix. You got to remember there's a matrix involved here. Okay? You got to remember there's a matrix here. And you're using the matrix to provide a systematic way of analyzing criteria. Let me give you a very scrappy illustration. So let's say you are at a fast food joint and you have a burger, you got salad as an option, and then you got milkshake. How do you know the decision to make? The decision you make is very similar to MCDA, very, very similar. You are going to analyze based on a number of criteria. So if you think about this like a matrix of sorts, and you categorize them using a point system, and here at the top, we make this some criteria that people normally use to decide what to eat. How do you decide what to eat? It depends on hunger. That's one. Another criteria you may consider is health. Is it a healthy option? And another option you might consider is price. And your scoring model could be on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the best or the most favorable. Okay, I would score salad as a 5 for health. I would score it as a 3 in satisfying my hunger. Price, a 1, because salads are usually more expensive. A burger, I would score it as a 5. Health, I'd score it as a 1. Price, I would score it as a 4. You see what I'm saying? Milkshake, hunger, I would score this as a 1 because I would still likely be hungry. Health, well, this is somewhere at 3. Some milkshakes ain't cheap. I would score this as a 4. So when you do this, what you see is a total. I have a 10 for the burger. I have a 9 for the salad. And I have an 8 for the milkshake. Unfortunately, the burger has won by my MCDA, the way I have chosen to score these items. And that is the difference between the nominal group technique and the MCDA. Nominal group technique will vote, and it could be a fist 2-5. It could be everyone who thinks it's a great idea on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the best, vote. And if everyone votes a 1, that idea is likely not to make it. And remember, when we talk about ideas, we're not just talking about quality ideas. We could also be talking about requirements. Oh, that's a brilliant idea for a requirement. You get what I mean? So talking about the affinity diagram, mind mapping, nominal group technique, and MCDA, it really depends. It really depends on the situation at hand. Now let's just read before we round up here the nominal group technique. It says, the nominal group technique enhances brainstorming with a voting process used to rank the most useful ideas for further brainstorming or for prioritization. So it could be that you are at the point where you want to make a final decision. So you could have further brainstorming, or you might have arrived at a final decision point where you need to make a decision. Where you use these, it's entirely up to you. It's entirely up to the situation and the circumstance. It's entirely up to the amount of time you have, because some of these things take a lot of time and coordination. If I want a scrappy decision and I've got a team in a room, I could very well use a nominal group technique and get it done quicker. If I want something more elaborate, more systemic, which I want duplicated across many projects, uniformity and all that, I could go ahead and use an MCDA if I have a model, a system in place. All right, so I hope that answers your questions. The last thing you said, as far as I understand, both techniques are used to rank the most useful ideas for prioritization, although one comes under decision-making, one under interpersonal and team skills. That's right. For your exam, just know what exactly is what. When you hear a tool and technique described, just make sure you know absolutely well what they're talking about. All right? Take care. Thanks for your question, and all the very best. Bye for now.